So the topic today is principle and reflection. And I added some more words there you can see on today's world. That was the thought behind it, but maybe I should have included also there. So we have the situation 2024. We are in the year of dragon, and we have some very dire wars ongoing, as you well know, in Middle East and also Ukraine and Russia. So yeah, it's a good time for reflection. And I'm very sad. I'm not like true father, true mother. They could give the direct, like God's view on things. But I tried my best. I picked some pieces from divine principle and from other sources, and this is how I put it together. And I hope you can enjoy it. So let's see, next slide. Okay. So we start with the Bible. That's a good foundation. So Jesus said in Matthew, truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. So it seems like there's a connection here between the earth and the spirit world, and very clear. And what we improve on earth will be reflected on the other side, and what we don't improve will also be affected. So in Luke, I tell you, keep asking, and it will be given you. Keep seeking, and you will find. Keep knocking, and it will be open to you. So I think as unification members, our focus, of course, is the unification of Korea. So let's continue praying for that. I'm sure all of you are praying for unification of Korea. And that is, a reminder of this verse in Luke. We have to continue and continue and continue. And one day it will be fulfilled, for sure. The universe was created after the pattern of human being, who is in the image of God's dual characteristics. This is from divine principle. Therefore, the structure of the universe and every entity in it resembles that of a human being, which consists most fundamentally of mind and body. Corresponding to the human mind and body, the universe consists of the incorporeal world and the corporeal world, both of which are real and substantial. So I interpret this way, that it reflects really the law of attraction, that what we are seeking, we will also gain. So if we seek peace on earth, we will find peace. And if it's war, it will be death and destruction. And that the human body is like a form, human body can either be very healthy, or it can have sickness, cancer, and all sorts of sicknesses can come to the body. So this is really a reflection of the world today also. The wars, they are really like cancer parts of the body, of the whole mankind human body. And we need to heal that. We need to stop that. We need to remove those bad parts, so we can have eternal peace. And it's interesting in this regard to reflect a little bit about Second World War. After Second World War, the United Nations was founded. I think it was in San Francisco, and that was like a new start, So people were so war sick of all the killings, all the violence in the Second World War, that they really wanted a peaceful world to come and to be established. There should be no more war. That was the goal of the United Nations. And we know it wasn't really happening that way. Okay. When someone strikes a righteous person unjustly, it sets a condition that must be repaid. Because of this repayment, the development of a religion is secured. This is an interesting point. So we can see the first Christians, they were martyred, they were killed, crucified, just like Jesus. And I think some of them upside down. Yeah. And it was terrible. It was a terrible, difficult thing to be a Christian among the very early first ones. And today you can go into any Christian church anywhere in the world. It's like established. So that is not the relative unification movement at the moment, even though we know that Japan is in a dire situation because of the government crash down on family federation. But that will also pass, that will also come to pass, and there will be a future. So nothing can destroy unification movement, but it can be delayed, it can be hindered in its progress. Yeah. So there's like a fulfillment of these words from True Father. Total Indemnity 1983, he spoke this. So this unjustly striking in Japan will be a condition that will be repaid one day. So it's sort of good news. Suffering is part of the spiritual progress. And we can wonder also now that 2024, why is there so many wars? Especially, I think, in the Middle East, that is very, very sort of strange, how it happened, how it sort of just exploded. It was really like an explosion of war in the Middle East, unstoppable. Okay. And here I come again to Philip Burley. You have seen him before, and I'm sorry I'm repeating myself many times in my sermons, but anyway, the point is that this is so important. There's some very deep insights through this medium. Philip Burley was one of the first U.S. members, and he became a church leader in the 1960s. And later he developed like his own. He went his own way, you could say, and he gave spiritual guidance and readings, and he became a medium, professional medium, and wrote many books. Some of them you see here on the page. And that's his family back in 1994. So I don't know exactly where he stands in regard to the movement at the moment, but that doesn't really matter, because the things that he delivers from the spirit world, they are like eternal truth. This I believe, and many of them, they're not his thoughts. They come from spirits like Saint Germain, a French nobleman. I think he lived in the 17th century, many hundreds years ago. And he has been a long time in spirit world, so he's very knowledgeable, and he gives some very interesting guidance that I will soon come to. And here's a comment: the physical and spiritual worlds are a continuum, like melting ice. With heat, the water will evaporate and the steam disappears to your eyes, but it's still water in different form. So actually, the water as a substance uh, is still there, but it's invisible. This is really like the spiritual world. The spiritual world is there. It's not doesn't disappear in any way. But when we die, we leave our physical body here, and we go with our spiritual that is invisible normally for our physical eyes, and we go to this other place now. So the spirit is never destroyed. It's just a sort of substance, different substance, and it goes to its home in the spirit world. Okay, and True Father said, before I hope to master the universe, I must first achieve self-perfection. So this is the interesting point, that actually we have to try to reach self-perfection. It sounds very, very far away, but at least for me, I have to speak for myself. So I'm still, climbing on this ladder, trying to improve my marriage and my relationship to people. And I have a thought here, I lost it. My age, 74, sometimes you think and then you lose the thinking. Anyway, so, oh yeah, now I remember. Also, Jesus spoke about this. That was what I wanted to say. Jesus said, freely quoting, you have to be perfect as your Heavenly Father, as God is perfect. Yeah, a very high goal. I don't know how Christian reflects on this, because they put Jesus and God sort of in the same position, far away, they're in the top. And of course, they try to resemble the goodness of Jesus, but I don't know if they sort of see that they can reach this perfection that Jesus spoke about. And we know from the principle that without the blessing, without the Messiah's presence on earth, through parents and their blessing, we cannot achieve this divine spirit. Yeah. So here's another book. Let's see, from the book, how to move my picture a little bit. To master self is to master life. And there you see Saint Germain through the mediumship of Philip Burley. Man does to a large extent create his or her own reality, and does indeed experience self-fulfilling prophecies. Law of attraction. The law of attraction is a spiritual belief that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences into a person's life. And here's a very good example of how the spiritual laws are working. So actually, the spirit laws are there all the time, but it depends on our thinking, on our desire, on our goal, which one we will sort of start. We will reflect, you could say. So that's why it's so important with positivity and gratefulness. And I'm sure you remember when Young, how popular he became when he became the continental leader in the USA. He always started, this was a couple of years ago, that he started his morning sessions, with asking brother, sister to stand up and give 10 points of appreciation every day, every morning that it is. And this probably was not so easy. I mean, 10 points is 10 points, so you have to really be creative. But anyway, it's important, and I think many of brothers and sisters, they realize this also. I realized it, that if you have positive attitude, if you really try to pick out the good things in your life, everybody has good, also bad things, of course. But if you focus on the good things, you will develop a positive momentum, and that will, reflect in your life, in your feeling, and things that is happening around you also. And I know one thing, but you probably, most of you know this already. If you smile a lot, even if you are depressed, very difficult to smile. But even if you are depressed, if you use the muscles in your face, and smile, I don't know if I can smile, but as much as possible. It affects your spirit. You can try it later maybe, but you can try it, and you see, just smile 1 minute, nothing else. Just smile 1 minute, and then sort of feel, how do you feel? And something magic happens there. I promise you. Yeah, that was about that. I'm reading a book now called The Gift of Mediumship that Philip Burley wrote, and I found some very interesting quotes there. I just added this morning to this sermon. The first and most important thing you can do is to love yourself as you are, and don't try to change to conform to someone else's ideas of how or what you should be. As many teachers have correctly said, it's not what happens to us that matters, it is how we respond to it. So I'm thinking a lot about this social media. I know from my own family experience that young people, they are very, very much affected by this media, um, um, that they see. They have this sort of ideal, very slim. I'm thinking about girls, especially girls now, very slim and sort of beautiful and all this. And then they look at themselves, and they don't at all fit this standard model. So of course you think like, oh, what's wrong with me? And everybody is so beautiful except me, or whatever. Everybody's so slim, or whatever. Yeah. So this is, I think this is speaking to that. Really appreciate what you are, the good things that you have, and if you're not in the standard, what you think like is a perfect model, try to accept that and do the best of it. Do the best of what you have been given as life. Here's another interesting point that also a little bit reflects society today. The screw tape letters wrote by C.S. Lewis. He was an atheist from the beginning, and then he became a Christian, and he's one of the most well-known writers among modern Christianity. So he wrote these screw tape letters, and I remember when I joined 79 in Stockholm, in the prayer room in the church center, they had this book, the screw tape letters, and it's like in his mind, of course, C.S. Lewis, he thought about this, and he got spiritual inspiration when he wrote this book, and it's like Lucifer or Satan talking to another evil spirit, how to affect mankind in a bad way. That sort of discussion. And when you read this, you can sort of understand the thinking among the evil powers. Disguised demons. Screw tape reveals to Wormwood, that is the younger bad spirit, that demons strive to be concealed, unrecognized, and disbelieved by humans. That is the best disguise. We don't see Satan or or Lucifer is restored. But anyway, the evil powers then. We don't see the evil powers. They don't come with horns, like coming in front of us and say, ooh, boo, now I'm going to do something bad to you. But they put thoughts in our minds, that are not so good. Some selfish thoughts or even like evil to do evil. And in Sweden especially, now I can take a bad example. So Sweden's criminal gangs, they recruit these young people. You've probably heard of them. So 12-year-olds get paid to shoot and to kill. It's sort of unbelievable thing that's happening here in my country, And this is evil spiritual. Absolutely, I'm absolutely sure this is evil spiritual that is inspiring all this bad stuff going on. By disguising themselves, they promote worldliness, materialism, and skepticism. Yeah. So most people don't believe in God, or many people don't believe in God, and also don't believe in the evil powers then. So that's why they are so susceptible. They are receptible to this evil influence, because they don't believe in it. They believe it's only their own thoughts, and they only have physical life, and that's it. So that is the danger. That is really the power of dark forces. They are hidden. Again, principle. Over time, the works of good spirit will increase a person's sense of peace and righteousness, and even improve his health or her health. The works of evil spirits, on the contrary, will gradually lead to an increase of anxiety, fear, and selfishness, and cause health to deteriorate. It may be difficult for someone who does not know the principle to discern the works of spirits, but eventually, often belatedly, he will recognize the nature of the spirits by the fruits they bear. Since the fallen person stands in the midway position between God and Satan and relates with both of them, the works of good spirit may be accompanied by the subtle influence of an evil spirit. Yeah, okay. This is again back. We already mentioned this, but I repeat it. The universe was created in the pattern of a human being who is in the image of God's dual characteristics, spirit and body, spiritual and physical world. Conclusion. Fallen man and the world now, and also before, of course, is a reflection of both God the Creator and Satan and the fallen man and four fallen natures, four sins. We most often see the reflection of fallen man, fallen nature in each other. Sadly, to say, there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of hatred in this world. Dislikings, conflict, war, crime, illicit sex is all repeating the fallen man, because we have it in our root. We have to root it out. And modern health, you can see them here, like depression, suicide, anger, hate, rape, original sin multiplied, even spiritual gravity. We are pulled, and especially criminal gangs are pulled by sort of invisible power, evil power towards the evil. Prostitution and trafficking, I have also here. Teenagers cutting themselves, drugs, crime. Yeah, it's not so nice to dwell on this, but it's there. It exists. And here I mentioned also Sweden. So we have a very, very difficult situation in Sweden now, and it's spreading to other countries. I listen to the news, of course, when I see some Swedish, and I hear that both Denmark and Norway police, they are very worried and upset that the gangs are are spreading over the border. Like Malmö and Copenhagen, they have this bridge. It's very easy to travel back and forth. So there have been things happening in Copenhagen recently that is very upsetting the Danish police. and it's Swedish young people coming and committing crimes. So it's spreading. I don't remember the exact word, but something like Sweden's sickness or Sweden's problem, whatever. Let's not have it to our country. That's their comment. Okay, so the world sickness, we talked about this, the world as a human body, is spiritually rooted and in need of permanent solution. And that is, of course, the blessing, the wonderful blessing we have in unification movement. So let's uphold that as the solution. And here's from True Father's word from 1980s. Since 1980s, Ramon has championed headwinds of philosophy that incorporates the best element of the right and left and based upon Godism. So Godism is the future. And what is Godism? Godism is accepting that there is like a spiritual science, spiritual laws that affects our life in the physical world. So we have to go forward with this knowledge and with this understanding, and through prayer and through spiritual guidance, we can achieve this connection between the two worlds, and then we can have a hopeful future. So that is for me, Godwin. Neither left ideology nor right-wing ideology will work. Both the left-wing world and right-wing world, Cain and Abel, came into being. Who can bring unity there? The left wing cannot do it, nor can the right wing. Therefore, we conclude that we need a movement through which we will bring together a new advanced right wing type, can be supported by the left wing, and a new advanced left wing type can be supported by the right wing. So like in USA, it's very divided. Also, the recent election in France, there became like a polarization. So the left was winning an election, and the right wing was also winning an election. The center was losing. What we should uphold is the head wing, not the left wing or the right wing. Then what is head wing? It is under God. The head wing exists under God. It's like opening up for God to lead the world. With Godism above head wing, God and heaven above, and the parties of the earthly world below are completely connected. In other words, humanism, whose life is based on materialism, need the concept of head wing. They cannot object to that. The religious people need Godism. With it, they cannot dispute. These two words, Godism and head wing, are persuasive to two different types of people, religious people and secular people. And here comes my thought. So I believe that when Korea is unified, I don't know how. I don't think anyone really knows on earth. Maybe through parents, yeah, probably through parents. But I don't know how it will happen, because North Korea seems so strong with all the nuclear power and all the military. You could say like there's like a social class, the military in North Korea. They don't want to lose power because they have lots of benefits in the present communist regime. So it's very tricky to see how that would fall, and how it would open up for unification. Anyway, I believe in the unification of Korea. How it will happen, I have no idea. So let's keep praying for it. The heavenly laws will work. Okay. Head wing is a body-centered ideology that is necessary for humans to live in this world. Godism is an ideology based on spirit. Unificationism means to join these two, head wing and Godism, into one, making a wholesome person. So here again, we have like a reflection of the whole mankind as just one human body. So when that is healed, when all the sicknesses are gone, then we are connected to God and the good spirit world. Since humans came from the religion God as a motivation of the subject being in order to bring total unity, we should connect that origin to our physical body. Otherwise, we cannot conclude that such unity is not complete. I remember Yang Won Kim, if you remember, one of the early Korean members who came to USA as a missionary, very first missionary. She became very sick just before meeting unification movement in Korea. And immediately when she accepted the principle, according to her testimony, she became healed. That was a powerful healing when you choose the right recipe. The principle was the recipe. and sickness was gone. So already I mentioned USA and France have this polarization. So I think this is not what is happening on a political scale in the world today is a reflection of this left and right is not right. God, headwing is right. If I use the word a little bit twisted like that. So I found this on the net and from this quote. Polarization is tearing at the seams of democracies around the world, from Brazil and India to Poland and Turkey. It isn't just an American illness, it's a global one. So they don't know anything about the one principle who wrote this and the provenance in Korea, but we can see the pattern. We who know the principle and the provenance, we can see the reason for it. They just see the symptom. They don't really know the real cause, but we know the real cause is the providence. The messianic providence is pushing the world in a special direction. And now we come to the final slides. This you have seen before. So solution, Edwin Godism, a new heavenly lineage, millions of messiahs, a small m, all of mankind for eternity, millions of Christ-like true paths. Like True Father said 1965 in the First World Tour, he mentioned that the meaning of the second coming of Christ is that all you should become Christ-like. You should be like Christ. Yeah, it says 1960. Okay. And here's some final quotes. 1973, there was a meeting in our church. I think it was in Norway or Iceland. I'm not sure which. And this was reported in The Way of the World, a small magazine. Some of you may remember. And there is a man. Let's see, what was his name? Anthony Brook. That was his name. Yeah. He commented on this, and he was like, I should say, he wrote books about unification movement. He never became a member, but anyway, he at this meeting there was this talk, and this was a quote. So send out telepathic messages that would reach people directly, and the commander-in-chief who would send out these telepathic messages as the main transmitter would be Sun Myung Moon. So if I remember correctly, this was a Finnish medium, not connected to our movement, who was saying this. So that's quite amazing. God's plan for Korea. Modern prophecy after the unification of South and North Korea. Korea is the most powerful spiritual country in the world. It will be the economic powerhouse of the world. Many prophets have an eye on Korea. So this was said a long time ago, 50 years ago. And here we are now. This is the tool. Changchun 1 is opening wide open channels to the spirit world. Especially resonance prayer is amazing. And I'm sure you have seen some of the testimonies from Korea. The other day I got a link to all the, not all, but most of the recordings from the Korea Changchun 1. So I'll send it to Joseph and Samuel. I hope they will share it with you. And there you can see what's going on in Korea. Yeah. So I tried to make a summary also. Yeah, sort of last slide. Yeah. Sermon summary reflection. Fallen man and society are a mixture of fallen and original sin, and that is reflected the fall in today's war-stricken world. God the Creator put the original nature in us all from the beginning. So the final solution is the blessing of the whole world and going back to that original nature. That's what I wanted to say today. And I finished with a nice picture from our daughter. Most of you, I think, know that our Anna Maria, she's in Australia, and she sent us this picture, and you can see it. There's a kangaroo. That was her. Took 6 months. She went last autumn in October, and this was the first time she saw kangaroo. And they are probably inside the car. They look like it. Anyway, a wild kangaroo. That's my last slide, and then I will make a final prayer. So please join me. Dear Heavenly Parent, we have finished this today's message, and I truly believe it's from you. There are many sources, many references here, but I think the overall message is that you exist, Heavenly Parent, and the good spirit world exists, and we should show positivity here on earth and appreciation, and that way we're opening channels to you and to the good spirit world, and we can really push the providence forward here on this earth. And we are eagerly waiting for the unification of Korea and the unification of the world. All the wars should subside and disappear, like evaporate, like water, and into steam, invisible steam, and there will be no more wars, like the Bible promised a long time ago, and also the principle promises. Yes, I pray now for your guidance and your blessing upon all of us, in our precious names as members and blessed central families. Adieu.